All right, so here we are. We are going to be replacing these windows. You can see they're double hung. They got the sash cord on the side with the weights behind the jamb. I'm pulling out the interior stops right there. I got the lower sash out, going for the upper stop, and going for the little pulleys on the side, taking those out. And then here we're cutting the jamb casing, just kind of cutting the caulking with a utility knife and going at it with a pry bar. At the time we weren't sure if we were going to be saving the wall finish material or just gutting it, and we eventually ended up demoing that whole wall, so we really didn't have to be as careful with it as we were, but weren't really sure what exact direction we were going with it. And taking out the stool and the apron right there on the bottom. Got kind of lucky with these windows. I took some measurements. Originally I was just going to kind of fix them up, but I took some measurements and realized that Menards had a replacement window that was the exact same size as these, and I have 4 of these exact windows on the main level, so it was a pretty economical choice. Just do a vinyl replacement insert, and the way those work is you just they don't have a nailing flange like a new construction window would, and they fit inside of the old window. You take all the window components out, but you leave the jamb, which is basically like the frame of the window, and then that replacement window fits inside of there. You run some screws in through the side, and then you caulk it up, paint it and whatever on the outside, and it's a replacement pretty quick. I mean, obviously in a normal situation you probably wouldn't take out the window casing and stuff like that. You're going to leave as much of it as you can, but we're redoing the interior anyways, so we're going to start fresh with that. But usually you can do a lot less work and do a replacement window, but obviously you still have to take out the innards of the window, the upper and lower sash, and the interior stops and stuff, and the sash cords. Here I'm taking off the storm window, and then we're just got to get the upper sash removed. These windows are pretty old, so they've been painted many times. At one point you could move the upper and lower sash, independent, but usually these windows have had so much paint on them that you can't even move the upper sash anymore, so they kind of knock it around a bit and take a utility knife and score a lot of the paint that had gone in through the seams over time. We're just cleaning off the jambs. It looks like I already got the parting bead taken out. These replacement windows are a pretty good option if you want to save some time and labor by reusing the exterior casing and trim, so all that stays in place, and then and you can even reuse the interior trim depending on how you do it. We're redoing the sheetrock, we're taking out the plaster and redoing sheetrock anyways, so that's why we removed some of the inside stuff. But you can really do this with minimal work. Get a new window. And just kind of cleaning up that that lower jamb there, or sill, I guess you'd call it. Sanding it down, scraping it. And then I usually start with my sill flashing, get the window tape, and kind of lay a little pan in there. A lot of prep, just kind of sanding the jambs so I don't have to try and do it after the window's in. It's kind of a pain. It's really easy to just do it now before I get the window in there and get it all dusty. And I have access to the full width of it without trying to worry about knocking the sander into the vinyl frame of the window or the glass. There we go with our sill flashing. Kind of laying out a little pan for it. So the water, if the water was to get in there, it would hit that flashing tape and then pretty much go right out the exterior. Just double checking the measurements and stuff, making sure the window looks like it's gonna fit in there right. Checking for plumb. Usually I just check the sill for level. That's pretty much your starting point. If that sill is level, you can just set the window in there, then plumb up the sides. I think this one, the sill was pretty level. I know one of them was off a bit. I didn't videotape all 4 windows, but I just choose to do one of them. You kind of get the idea after one. You don't need to see all 4 of them, but shimming everything around. Really takes a lot of adjusting in an old house to get a window to work properly and look good. You know, you can stick your level up there, but you'll find an old house and a lot of stuff isn't plumb level or square, so you kind of have to split the difference in what looks good and it still operates functionally. Actually, you can see on the left side there, I did have to shim the bottom up a little bit so the sill was out of level. But it's better to have it, the window in the opening square so it works correctly than to try to just ram it into an out of square opening. That's what shims are for. Shim, 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 trying to get it just right. I don't like to just slap these windows in. I like to make sure they're gonna work perfectly, as perfectly as you can. I mean, they're cheap vinyl windows, but no reason why they can't function just right. And there I'm trimming the vinyl sill extension, because if you notice, the left side we had to shim it up so there's a little angle. The window isn't perfectly square with the opening on the bottom, so you gotta trim that sill piece to make it match. And then putting up some blinds, because the house is still under construction. I want to keep prying eyes from looking in and seeing tools in there and stuff like that. There we go, some backer rod. It's just going to kind of fill the gap, and then when I caulk it, I don't have to fill the whole crack up with caulk and waste a lot of material. It keeps the bugs out too if I can't quite caulk it right away, but here I'm just going to get it all done in one shot. Use the caulking gun. Get everything sealed up so the outside is 100% done, and then I can just move on to the next window. And I believe these are single hung, which means only the bottom sash is movable. The upper sash is fixed in place. They're a little cheaper that way, and I find like it's sealed a little better because the top doesn't have an opportunity for air to come through it on the seals or where it slides up and down. But that is pretty much it. That's one window out of 4 of that size. And then we'll go to the upstairs.